Brooklyn, New York, 11:47 p.m. on a Friday. Sophia Bennett was having the absolute worst night imaginable, and that included the time she accidentally sent a pitch deck meant for a coffee brand to a funeral home. At least back then, she'd been sober and wearing sensible flats. Tonight, she was teetering in designer heels, pleasantly buzzed from 3 Cosmos, maybe 4, about to meet a complete stranger her late grandfather had hired to marry her. Yes, marry her. You're positive that's what the note says? She asked her best friend Harper for probably the 15th time. Harper groaned, her blonde ponytail swishing as she shook her head. Soph, I can read English. It says Marcus Thompson, 11:50 p.m., the Landmark Bar. Marriage contract ready for signatures. Grandpa officially lost it before he died. Or he was brilliant, Harper countered, fixing Sophia's emerald dress. Think about it. You lose $50 million if you're not married by 30. You've got what, 8 days? 8 miserable days, Sophia confirmed, rubbing her temples. Grandfather Theodore Bennett had been many things: real estate tycoon, Wall Street legend, devoted workaholic. But above all else, he'd been magnificently controlling. His final act? A will clause stating Sophia would only inherit her share of the family fortune. We're talking $50 million if she married before her 30th birthday. Otherwise, every penny went to charity. Wonderful causes, sure, but they wouldn't pay rent on her Williamsburg loft. At least the old guy left you a solution, Harper said, checking her phone. I mean, hiring someone to marry you is weird, but also practical. It's bonkers, Sophia hissed, spinning so fast she nearly broke an ankle. My dead grandfather literally hired a husband for me. His lawyer hired one. That Peterson man, right? Richard Peterson, Theodore's fossilized attorney, had called yesterday with the perfect answer. Apparently, Theodore had predicted his granddaughter might struggle to find a spouse thanks for the vote of confidence, Gramps, and established a secret fund to expedite the process. Translation: bribe money for some desperate soul willing to fake marry her long enough to secure the inheritance. 2 minutes, Harper announced, nudging her toward the entrance. Go meet him. If he gives off serial killer vibes, scream and I'll call 911. That's weirdly reassuring. The Landmark was one of those trendy hotel bars, charging $20 for a craft beer, attracting tourists and locals pretending to be sophisticated. Sophia entered, trying to project confidence while probably looking mildly nauseous. The space held scattered groups. An elderly couple near the window, 3 women celebrating something at the bar, and 2 men at separate tables, both alone, both nervously checking phones. Oh no. She had 0 photos. Peterson had only said, Marcus Thompson, brown hair, medium build, wearing a dark blue suit. Except both men wore dark blue suits. Both had brown hair. Both looked medium build, whatever that meant. Panic clawed at Sophia's throat. Harper was outside, probably already posting stories. The clock showed 11:50 p.m. She had to choose. Left table, friendly-looking guy with black-rimmed glasses, scrolling an iPad. Probably watched cooking shows and owned a rescue dog. Right table, holy wow chiseled jaw, military straight posture, intense focus on his phone. The type who ran marathons before sunrise and meal prepped on Sundays. Pick the friendly one, her brain ordered. The other guy looks like he'd choose gravel for fun. Then Mr. Intense looked up. For 1 electric second, their eyes locked. Something flickered there: intensity, intelligence, challenge. And Sophia, who'd already made questionable choices tonight, made another. She walked straight to the intense guy's table. Marcus? She asked, forcing what she hoped was a totally confident bride smile instead of woman having internal panic attack. The man blinked, frowned slightly, opened his mouth, closed it, studied her like she was a complex equation. He began. Sorry, I'm running late. Sophia pulled out the chair and sat before second-guessing herself. Traffic from Brooklyn was absolutely brutal. Friday night in Manhattan, nightmare. He continued staring. His eyes were striking steel gray with hints of blue. Unfairly attractive eyes. The kind you'd happily drown in while simultaneously being annoyed at how pretty they were. He tried again. Sophia Bennett. She extended her hand like this was a normal business meeting and not an arranged marriage transaction. The bride. Something crossed his face, surprise, confusion, hard to read. The man had an exceptional poker face. Then, shockingly, he shook her hand. "Marcus," he said simply. His handshake was firm, warm, confident, very boardroom executive who closes million-dollar deals. A tingle shot up Sophia's arm, which she immediately blamed on static electricity. So she withdrew her hand, casually wiping it on her dress. "Let's cut to the chase. I know this situation is bizarre, but my grandfather was eccentric. Apparently decided I needed assistance in the husband-finding department." Marcus kept watching her with that penetrating stare. "Your grandfather," he repeated carefully. "Theodore Bennett. His attorney, Peterson, should have briefed you. It's straightforward, really. We marry on paper, maintain appearances for several months until I receive my inheritance, then file for an amicable divorce. You get your payment, I get my money, everyone wins." "Your inheritance," he echoed, and Sophia wondered if he had hearing issues. "The 50 million, she clarified quietly. "Look, I realize this sounds insane because it is, but it's lucrative insane. Peterson mentioned you'd receive 2 million, which seems fair. Maybe. I've never hired a fake husband before, so I'm unclear on standard rates." Marcus made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a cough. 2 million, he said. "Are you just going to repeat everything I say?" "Apologies." He ran fingers through his hair, disheveling it in an annoyingly attractive way. "This is all just very crazy, absurd, borderline illegal. Unexpected," he finished. Sophia relaxed fractionally. At least the guy had some humor buried under all that seriousness. "Same here," she admitted. "Honestly, I woke up today planning a weekend of ice cream and self-pity about my lost fortune. Didn't expect Grandpa's posthumous Plan B." "Plan B?" Marcus murmured, then surprised her by smiling small but genuine, reaching those unfair eyes. "I appreciate a good Plan B. So, you'll do it?" He hesitated, barely a heartbeat, but she caught it. A micro-moment where he clearly considered refusing, standing up, ending this madness. Then, "Yes," he said, "I'll do it." Sophia exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "Seriously?" "Seriously," he confirmed, extending his hand again. "We have an agreement, Sophia Bennett." She shook his hand, feeling that warmth again, that solid certainty. "We have an agreement, Marcus Thompson." Right then, the bartender approached with a tray. "Sorry about the wait, folks. Here's what the other gentleman requested delivered." Sophia blinked. Marcus blinked. "Other gentlemen?" she asked. "Yeah." The bartender, young guy with an elaborate topknot, set a manila folder down. "Guy at the opposite table asked me to bring this. Said it was urgent." They turned simultaneously. At the far table, Glasses Guy was staring at them, looking utterly baffled. He waved weakly. Then it clicked. Glasses Guy raised his iPad, displaying large text. "Sophia Bennett." "Oh no," Sophia whispered. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked. She turned slowly, feeling color drain from her face. "You're not Marcus Thompson, are you?" The man before her frowned deeply. "No," he said, and Sophia finally registered the accent's subtle Texas drawl she'd completely missed in her panic. "I'm Declan Rhodes." Dead silence. "And you were expecting my business partner," he answered automatically. "We're finalizing a major company merger tonight. Her name is—" They stared at each other. "Sophia Bennett," they said together. "Oh, crud," Sophia said eloquently. Across the bar, real Marcus Thompson kept waving, looking increasingly uncomfortable. Declan looked at her. She looked at him. The universe seemed to pause. "So," he started slowly, "you just proposed marriage thinking I was someone else. Technically, my deceased grandfather proposed, and I accepted believing you were my slightly unhinged business partner. You thought your partner wanted to marry you for 50 million? I thought you were using corporate code," he defended, like some complicated merger metaphor. "You Manhattan business types are all slightly nuts. You just agreed to marry a total stranger. You ambushed me." They were nearly shouting now, drawing stares. Sophia's cheeks burned. "Okay." She breathed deeply. "Okay, this is just a misunderstanding. We'll explain. I'll talk to the real Marcus." You'll find your real Sophia. And Sophia? A sharp female voice called. They turned. A woman mid-40s, designer blazer, killer heels, radiating I bill by the minute energy stopped beside their table. Finally, she snapped at Declan. Thought you'd bailed on me, Rhodes. And you brought. She eyed Sophia with obvious disdain. Entertainment to our business meeting? I'm not entertainment, Sophia protested. This is, Declan began, but the woman was already sitting. Never mind. Let's move. I have another meeting in 20 minutes. Do you have the merger documents? That's when Sophia noticed the folder. Declan noticed simultaneously. Both looked at it slowly, dreading what she'd find. Sophia opened it. Marriage contract blazed across the top page in bold letters. Parties, Sophia Bennett and Marcus Thompson. Below in smaller print, must be signed and filed before midnight, October 24th, 2025, for legal validity. Sophia checked the wall clock, 11:58 p.m. How much time? Declan asked, following her gaze. 2 minutes. Business partner Sophia, call her Sophia too. 0 drummed manicured nails on the table. Rhodes, are you listening or not? Across the bar, real Marcus Thompson stood, heading their direction. He looked confused, annoyed, ready for answers. Sophia met Declan's eyes. Declan met hers. This was insane. Absurd. Probably fraud. But it was 11:59 p.m. She had 60 seconds to save $50 million. And the man before her had already mistakenly, but still agreed to marry her. If we sign this, she said rapidly, I'll split the payment, $1 million cash. All you do is pretend to be my husband for a few months. Declan opened his mouth, closed it. His eyes searched her face for what? Insanity? Honesty? Desperation? Probably all three. Why would I agree? Because you're clearly impulsive enough to have said yes once, she shot back, and because she paused, then went for brutal honesty, because I genuinely need this. I know we literally just met, but you have an honest face, like a grown-up Eagle Scout, and I swear I'm not crazy. Not a criminal, not a con artist. Just a desperate woman trying to keep my controlling grandfather's fortune from vanishing to charities. That's your sales pitch? It's the most truthful offer you'll get tonight. 30 seconds. Marcus Thompson was 2 meters away. Sophia too. 0 was griping about market shares. The bartender watched with undisguised fascination. And Declan Rhodes, absolute stranger she'd known for exactly 11 minutes, grabbed a pen from the folder. This is completely insane, he said. Completely. Sophia agreed. I'll regret this. Probably. My attorney will absolutely lose it. Mine's dead, so I've got that advantage. He laughed short, genuine, real. Then, as Marcus Thompson reached their table, as Sophia too, 0 tapped her foot impatiently as the clock struck 11 hours 59 minutes and 45 seconds. Declan signed the contract. Your turn, wife, he said, sliding the paper toward her. Sophia signed without breathing. Her signature came out shaky, barely legible, but there. Sophia Bennett on a marriage contract with a complete stranger. Marcus Thompson arrived exactly as she finished. Pardon me, he said, adjusting his glasses. I believe there's been confusion. Are you Sophia Bennett? Sophia looked at him, at Declan, at the signed contract, then did what any reasonable person would do. She grabbed Declan's hand, intertwined their fingers, and beamed at Marcus Thompson with maximum sweetness. I am, she said. But turns out I already found my husband. Marcus's face cycled through confusion, shock, comprehension in under 3 seconds. Sophia too. 0 shot up so fast, her chair toppled. Rhodes. What in the world? Declan impressively squeezed Sophia's hand and faced the executive with remarkable calm. Change of plans, Sophia, he said smoothly. The merger's postponed. I just got married. The following silence was so profound Sophia could hear her pulse hammering. Or maybe that was her life exploding. Hard to distinguish. Then Marcus Thompson erupted. You can't just find some random guy to marry. The contract specifically names me. Actually, Sophia heard herself say with surprising steadiness, the contract names Marcus Thompson, and as it happens, she squeezed Declan's hand, feeling him tense. This is my Marcus Thompson. Marcus Thompson Rhodes family name situation. Declan blinked once, twice. Then bless this wonderful, ridiculous, completely unhinged man, he nodded. True, he confirmed. Marcus is my first name. I use my middle name professionally. Less confusion. This is absurd, real Marcus Thompson shouted. Sophia, too. Zero had her phone out. Definitely calling lawyers or police. And Sophia looked at the man beside her, who'd just married her through a colossal misunderstanding, and was now blatantly lying to protect her, and thought, I am spectacularly screwed. But aloud she only said, So, should we grab an Uber home, husband? Declan met her eyes. For the first time since sitting down, she saw something beyond confusion in those steel-gray depths. Amusement. Pure, dangerous, wildly inappropriate amusement. Thought you'd never ask, wife. And that's how Sophia Bennett married the wrong man on a Friday night and woke up Saturday morning with a ring on her finger, a pounding headache, and zero clue how to explain any of this to anyone, especially the guy currently asleep on her couch. Her husband. Declan, apparently also Marcus Rhodes. She was spectacularly, magnificently, absolutely screwed. Saturday morning, 8:47 a.m., Sophia's apartment. Sophia woke up to three things: blinding sunlight, a headache that felt like a marching band practicing inside her skull, and the horrifying realization that she'd married a complete stranger last night. She bolted upright in bed, immediately regretting the sudden movement as her brain sloshed painfully against her skull. Oh no. Oh no. 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 The memories came flooding back in humiliating high definition. The bar, the wrong guy, the signed contract, the ridiculous lie about his name being Marcus Thompson Rhodes. She looked down at her left hand. A simple gold band gleamed on her ring finger. Oh, crud. Sophia scrambled out of bed, still wearing last night's emerald dress, now wrinkled beyond recognition. Her hair looked like a bird's nest that even birds would reject. Mascara was smeared down one cheek, in what could only be described as raccoon chic. She crept to her bedroom door and opened it a crack. Her apartment, a cozy one-bedroom in Williamsburg that cost more than most people's mortgages, was eerily quiet. Morning light streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows she'd fallen in love with when she first saw the place. And there, on her vintage leather couch, was a man. Her husband. Declan Rhodes was still asleep, one arm thrown over his eyes, his suit jacket draped over the armchair, tie loosened around his neck. Even disheveled and half asleep on her couch, he looked unfairly attractive. His dark hair was messy in that annoyingly perfect way, and his jaw had the shadow of morning stubble that made him look like he'd stepped out of a cologne commercial. Sophia's phone buzzed on her nightstand. She dove back into her room and grabbed it. 47 missed calls from Harper, 23 text messages from Harper, 6 voicemails from Harper, 1 text from an unknown number. She opened the messages from Harper first. Girl, where are you? Did you leave with that guy? The hired guy or the other guy? Sophia Marie Bennett, answer your phone. If you're dead in a ditch, I'm going to kill you. Okay, I saw your Instagram location, your home, but seriously, call me. I'm coming over. I'm literally outside your building. Why is there a hot guy asleep on your couch? Wait, what? Sophia ran to her window and looked down. Sure enough, Harper was on the sidewalk, waving frantically while holding 2 coffee cups and what looked like a bag of bagels. Her phone rang. Harper, obviously, Sophia answered in a whisper. How did you get into my building? Mrs. Chen let me in. She thinks I'm your sister. Why are you whispering? Because there's a stranger sleeping on my couch. The hot one in the suit? Yeah, I saw him through your window. Sophia, what happened last night? And why does my phone show you tagged at City Hall at midnight? Sophia's stomach dropped. What? Instagram? Your location was tagged at City Hall at literally midnight, which is weird because you were supposed to be at a bar meeting your hired husband, not... Harper gasped so loud Sophia had to pull the phone away from her ear. Oh my gosh, you didn't. I can explain. You actually married him. Keep your voice down. I'm literally on the sidewalk. Who am I going to disturb the pigeons? Harper paused. Wait, is that him on your couch? The hired guy? Not exactly. What do you mean, not exactly? Either he's the guy, or he's not the guy. Sophia pinched the bridge of her nose. He's a different guy. Silence. Then, I'm coming up. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just stay alive until I get there." The line went dead. Sophia looked at herself in the mirror and made an executive decision. She needed a shower, clean clothes, and approximately 17 minutes to come up with a believable explanation before Harper arrived. She grabbed clothes and darted into the bathroom, moving as quietly as a ninja with a hangover could manage. 15 minutes later, Sophia emerged from the bathroom in yoga pants and an oversized NYU sweatshirt, her wet hair pulled into a messy bun. Feeling approximately 2% more human, she'd brushed her teeth 3 times and removed all traces of last night's makeup disaster. She padded into the living room and froze. Declan was awake. He sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, hands clasped, staring at nothing in particular. He'd removed his tie completely and rolled up his sleeves, revealing surprisingly muscular forearms. His hair was even more disheveled now, sticking up in several directions. He looked up when she entered, and those steel-gray eyes locked onto hers. "Morning," he said, his Texas drawl more pronounced in the morning. "Or should I say, good morning, wife?" Sophia winced. "About that. We got married last night." "We did. To the wrong people. Technically, we married each other, which were the wrong people for both of our situations." Sophia shook her head. "Sorry, I babble when I'm nervous." "I noticed," he said with the hint of a smile. "I also noticed you have 7 different types of coffee in your kitchen, but no actual coffee maker. I'm more of a grab coffee on the way to work person. That explains the 17 Starbucks receipts I found while looking for a coffee maker that doesn't exist." Sophia felt her cheeks heat. "You went through my stuff?" "I was looking for caffeine, not state secrets. Though I did learn you apparently buy a vanilla oat milk latte every single morning at exactly 7:45 a.m. from the Starbucks on Berry Street. That's oddly specific. The receipts are very detailed." He stood up, and Sophia was reminded of exactly how tall he was, at least 6'2", which meant she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "We should probably talk about what happens next." "Right. Yes. Talking. We should do that." Before she could continue, someone started pounding on her door. "Sophia Bennett, open this door right now." "Harper." Declan raised an eyebrow. "Friend of yours?" "My best friend. She's persistent." "I can hear you in there," Harper yelled. "I have bagels and I'm not afraid to eat them all myself." Sophia looked at Declan, who looked surprisingly calm for someone who'd woken up in a stranger's apartment after accidentally getting married the night before. "How good are you at improv?" she asked. "Depends. What's the scenario?" "You're my boyfriend. We've been dating for 6 months. We're serious. You're thinking about proposing soon. Why would I lie to your friend? Because if she knows the truth, she'll freak out. And when Harper freaks out, she gets loud. And when she gets loud, my neighbor Mrs. Chen calls the super. And I really can't deal with that right now." Declan studied her for a long moment. Then, incredibly, he shrugged. 6 months. Got it. What else do I need to know? Just follow my lead. Sophia hissed, then went to open the door. Harper burst in like a blonde tornado, juggling coffee and bagels while simultaneously trying to hug Sophia and get a good look at Declan. "Oh my gosh, you're alive. I was so worried. I texted you like 1,000 times." She stopped dead when she saw Declan. "Hello, Harper." "This is Marcus," Declan said smoothly, extending his hand. "Marcus Rhodes. Nice to finally meet you. Sophia talks about you all the time." Harper shook his hand automatically, then whipped around to stare at Sophia with an expression that clearly said, "We need to talk immediately." "Marcus," Harper repeated slowly. "Your boyfriend?" "Yes," Sophia said too brightly. "My boyfriend of 6 months, who I've definitely mentioned before." "You've never mentioned a boyfriend. I've been private about it. You told me about that guy you matched with on Hinge who turned out to collect porcelain dolls. You're not private." Declan coughed, and Sophia could swear he was fighting a laugh. "Things have been complicated with Grandpa's will situation," Sophia said, which was at least partially true. "I didn't want to jinx anything." Harper's eyes narrowed. She was a corporate lawyer, which meant she had a built-in radar for nonsense. "Aha. And where exactly did you two meet?" Sophia opened her mouth, realized she had no answer prepared, and panicked. "Whole Foods," Declan said calmly. "Produce section." She was trying to figure out if an avocado was ripe, and I offered assistance. You met over avocados. Best organic avocados in Brooklyn. He said it so sincerely that even Sophia almost believed him. I knew she was special when she insisted on examining 12 different avocados before choosing the perfect one. Harper looked between them, clearly skeptical but unable to poke holes in the story yet. And you're here this morning because… We went out last night to celebrate. Sophia jumped in. Had a few drinks. Decided it was safer for him to stay over than drive back. She looked at Declan helplessly. Austin, he supplied. I'm in town for business, tech consultant. Right. Austin. Business tech stuff. Harper sat down the coffee and bagels with deliberate slowness. Sophia, can I talk to you in the kitchen for a second? Actually, I should probably get going, Declan said, grabbing his jacket. Let you two catch up. He turned to Sophia, and something flickered in his eyes. Amusement, maybe, or conspiracy. I'll call you later. Definitely. He leaned in, and for one heart-stopping moment, Sophia thought he was going to kiss her. Instead, he whispered, so only she could hear, We need to talk about the contract. Meet me at Prospect Park, Grand Army Plaza entrance, noon. Don't be late, wife. Then he straightened, gave Harper a charming smile, and left. The moment the door closed, Harper grabbed Sophia's shoulders. Okay, spill everything now. Sophia looked at her best friend at the concern and confusion written all over her face and felt the lies she was constructing crumble before they even formed. I need you to promise not to scream. That's never a good start to a conversation. Harper, promise. Harper held up 3 fingers in a Girl Scout salute. I promised to keep my screaming to a minimum. I married him. You what? You promised not to scream. I said minimum. Sophia Marie Bennett. What do you mean you married him? Sophia sank onto the couch. It's complicated. It's insane. You just told me he's your boyfriend of 6 months, but I know that's garbage because I saw you last week crying into a pint of Cherry Garcia about dying alone. I wasn't crying. I was just emotionally processing with ice cream and a sad playlist. That's crying. Harper sat down next to her. Start from the beginning. The real beginning. And so Sophia did. She told Harper everything. Going to meet the hired husband. The 2 men in navy suits. Choosing the wrong one. Declan thinking she was his business partner. The contract and the midnight deadline. The desperate lie about his name. Harper listened with an expression that cycled through disbelief, horror, shock, and finally landed on a sort of hysterical amusement. So you're telling me, Harper said slowly, that you accidentally married a complete stranger, lied about his identity to the real hired husband, and are now stuck in a fraudulent marriage to save your inheritance? When you say it like that, it sounds bad. Because it is bad, Sophia. This is fraud. Like actual legal fraud. I know. You could go to jail. I know. And you married a guy whose real name you barely know. His name is Declan Rhodes. He's from Texas. He's a tech consultant. Sophia paused. Actually, I don't know if any of that is true. He could have been lying about everything. Harper dropped her head into her hands. This is a disaster. I'm aware. What are you going to do? I'm meeting him at noon. We're going to figure something out. Figure something out? Sophia, you can't just figure out accidentally marrying someone. We'll get it annulled or file for divorce or something. Sophia stood up, pacing. It was a mistake. A weird, complicated, cosmopolitan-fueled mistake, but still just a mistake. Harper watched her friend pace for a moment, then sighed. You like him? What? No, I don't even know him. You like him? Harper repeated with more certainty. I can tell by the way you're avoiding eye contact and the way you've touched your ring finger 4 times in the last 2 minutes. Sophia immediately stopped touching her ring finger. I'm just nervous. Uh-huh. And the fact that he's unfairly attractive has nothing to do with anything. He's conventionally attractive, yes, but that's irrelevant. He met your crazy lie about being your boyfriend with the smoothest cover story I've ever heard. Whole Foods? Avocados? That's either incredible improv or he actually likes you too. That's ridiculous. We just met under the worst possible circumstances. The best rom-coms start under the worst circumstances. This isn't a rom-com, Harper. This is my life, and it's currently a disaster movie. Harper stood and pulled Sophia into a hug. It's going to be okay. We'll fix this. She pulled back and gave Sophia a stern look. But first, you're going to that meeting. You're going to be honest with him, and you're going to figure out how to undo this mess before your family finds out. My family? Sophia's eyes went wide. Oh no, my mom. What about your mom? She calls every Saturday morning. If she calls and I tell her I got married, she'll have questions. So many questions. As if summoned by the mere mention, Sophia's phone rang. Mom flashed on the screen. Harper and Sophia stared at the phone like it was a bomb. Don't answer it, Harper whispered. I have to answer it. If I don't, she'll assume I'm dead and show up with the spare key. Then answer it and don't mention the husband. Sophia took a deep breath and answered. Hi, Mom. Sophia. Darling, I had the most wonderful news. Her mother's voice was bright with excitement, which was never a good sign. I was talking to Patricia Henderson. You remember Patricia, don't you? Her son Jonathan is single again, and she mentioned the most lovely idea for your birthday party. Mom, my birthday is 8 days away. Exactly, which is why we need to start planning now. I'm thinking a small, intimate gathering, maybe 50 people at the club, and we can actually— Mom, Sophia interrupted, meeting Harper's frantic head-shaking and throat-slashing motions. About my birthday. I have some news. Harper collapsed dramatically onto the couch. News? What kind of news? Are you dating someone? Oh. Sophia. Please tell me you're dating someone. Your grandmother has been asking, and I'm running out of excuses. I'm engaged. Sophia blurted it out. Silence. Then, engaged to whom? His name is Marcus. Marcus Rhodes. He's from Texas. We've been dating for 6 months. Harper was now face down on the couch, possibly dead from secondhand stress. 6 months? Patricia Bennett's voice rose an octave. Sophia Marie Bennett, why am I just hearing about this now? We wanted to keep it private while things were new, but it got serious fast. And we're really happy. And I need to meet him immediately. Tomorrow? No. Today. Can you come for dinner tonight? Tonight? Sophia squeaked. That's very sudden. Nonsense. If you're marrying this man, your father and I need to meet him. 6 o'clock. Don't be late. And Sophia? Yes? Wear something nice. First impressions matter. Her mother hung up. Sophia looked at Harper. Harper looked at Sophia. You're going to dinner with your parents, Harper said. With your fake husband, who is actually your real husband. But your parents think he's your fiancé. That about sums it up. And you're meeting him, and Harper checked her watch. 2 hours to discuss this disaster. Yep. I need a bagel. Or 12. Possibly with a side of wine. Sophia grabbed her phone and pulled up the unknown number from earlier. She typed quickly. We need to talk, and then we need to have dinner with my parents tonight at 6. Long story. Please don't bail on me. Your accidental wife. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, your life is chaos. I'm intrigued. See you at noon. And I never bail. Your accidental husband. Sophia stared at the message, a weird flutter happening in her chest that she absolutely refused to analyze. This is going to be a disaster, she muttered. Harper, now on her second bagel, shrugged. At least it'll be an interesting disaster. Sophia couldn't argue with that. 11:58 a.m., Prospect Park, Grand Army Plaza entrance. Sophia arrived 2 minutes early, which was late by her standards. She'd changed into jeans, ankle boots, and a soft gray sweater that made her look casual yet put together. She'd also put on makeup, then taken it off, then put on less makeup, then convinced herself she was being ridiculous because this was a business meeting about annulling their marriage, not a date. The ring was still on her finger. She'd tried to take it off 3 times that morning and couldn't bring herself to do it, which was weird and probably psychological. She'd Google it later. Declan was already there, leaning against the stone entrance, looking unfairly good in dark jeans and a gray Henley that matched his eyes. He'd showered and shaved since that morning, and his hair was still slightly damp. He smiled when he saw her. You're late. I'm 2 minutes early. I've been here for 20 minutes. By my calculation, you're 18 minutes late. That's not how time works. It's how military time works. Old habit. He pushed off the wall. Want to walk? I think better when I'm moving." They started down the path into the park, the autumn leaves crunching under their feet. It was one of those perfect October days, crisp air, clear sky, the smell of coffee and fresh bagels drifting from nearby vendors. "So," Declan said after a moment, "your best friend seems nice. She's a lawyer. She thinks we're insane. She's not wrong." He glanced at her. "You told your mom we're engaged. You got my text." "I did. Very informative, though you left out some details, like why we're having dinner with your parents." Sophia groaned. "My mom called. I panicked, and words came out of my mouth before my brain could stop them. She's very persistent, and she's been worried about my personal life ever since Grandpa's will clause became public knowledge. The one where you have to be married by 30. The very same which is now in." She checked her watch. 7 days and 18 hours. "We're already married. Technically, you fulfilled the requirement. Except everyone thinks you're Marcus Thompson Rhodes, my fiancé of 6 months, not Declan Rhodes, the stranger I accidentally married last night." He was quiet for a moment. "We could tell them the truth and explain that I married the wrong person by mistake. It's not that unusual. Happens in Vegas all the time. My mother would have a coronary. My father would hire 17 lawyers. My grandmother would probably laugh and then write me out of her will too." Sophia shook her head. "No, we need a better plan." "Such as?" "We keep up the charade just for a week. You pretend to be my fiancé. We have an extremely short engagement. We get married again, but publicly this time. I turn 30, claim my inheritance, and then we quietly divorce. You get your $1 million, I get my 50 million. Everyone wins." Declan stopped walking. "You want me to pretend to be your fiancé for a week, meet your family, participate in a fake wedding, and then divorce you? When you say it like that, it sounds complicated." "Because it is complicated." But he was smiling slightly. "Also, technically, we're already married, so wouldn't the second wedding be the fake one? Don't logic at me right now. I'm stressed." He studied her for a long moment, those gray eyes seeing far too much. "Why do I get the feeling you're someone who plans everything down to the minute?" "Because I am. I have color-coded calendars, plural. My entire life is scheduled in 15-minute increments. And yet you accidentally married a stranger." It was a momentary lapse in judgment. It was cosmopolitangent-fueled chaos. "And you loved every second of it." Sophia opened her mouth to argue, then closed it because he wasn't entirely wrong. There'd been something thrilling about last night, the spontaneity, the risk, the absolute insanity of it all. "Maybe," she admitted quietly. Declan grinned. "There's hope for you yet. So you'll do it? The fake engagement, the family dinner, all of it? On 3 conditions." Sophia's lawyer instincts kicked in. "I'm listening. 1. I need to know more about you than your Starbucks order. If I'm meeting your parents tonight, I need the basics. Favorite food, childhood pet, embarrassing stories I can weaponize if necessary." "That's fair." 2. We set clear boundaries. This is business. We're not." He gestured vaguely between them. "Whatever this could turn into." Something flickered in Sophia's chest. Disappointment? Relief? She couldn't tell. "Agreed. And 3, I want 2 million. Sophia blinked. "What? You're asking me to uproot my life for a week, lie to your entire family, and participate in an elaborate scheme to secure your inheritance? The original deal was 2 million for the real Marcus Thompson. I'm doing the same job, same price." He had a point. A frustrating, logical point. "Fine. 2 million. Declan extended his hand. "Then we have a new deal, Mrs. Rhodes." Sophia shook his hand, trying to ignore the way her skin tingled at his touch. "It's Ms. Bennett, professionally. Mrs. Rhodes is just for the week. Whatever you say, wife." That word again, wife, coming from his mouth with that slight Texas drawl. It did things to her nervous system that were absolutely inappropriate for a business arrangement. "We should get coffee," she said, pulling her hand away. "And go over your backstory. My mother will have questions. So many questions. Lead the way." They walked toward a nearby coffee cart, and Sophia tried very hard not to think about how natural this felt. Walking beside him, their steps falling into sync, the comfortable silence between words. This was business, just business. A week-long arrangement to save her inheritance. The fact that her accidental husband was funny, smart, and unfairly attractive was completely irrelevant. Completely. Absolutely. Totally. She was in so much trouble. Saturday, 5:47 p.m., outside the Bennett family estate, Upper East Side. Sophia stood on the sidewalk, staring up at her childhood home, a pristine brownstone that screamed old money in the most elegant way possible, and seriously considered running away to Canada. "We could still bail," she said for the third time in 10 minutes. Declan, looking criminally good in dark slacks and a button-down shirt that probably cost more than her monthly grocery bill, raised an eyebrow. "You want to explain to your mother why her newly engaged daughter stood her up? I could say we got food poisoning. Both of us. Bad sushi. Your mom strikes me as the type who'd show up at the hospital to verify." He wasn't wrong. Patricia Bennett was a force of nature wrapped in Chanel and pearls. "How do you look so calm?" Sophia demanded, smoothing down her navy dress for the 15th time. "You're about to meet my parents while pretending to be my fiancé after we accidentally got married last night. I'm excellent under pressure." He adjusted his collar. "Also, I may have taken a shot of whiskey before leaving my hotel." "You're drunk?" I said, a shot singular. "Just enough to take the edge off." He looked at her, and his expression softened slightly. "Hey, we've got this. We spent 3 hours at that coffee shop going over every detail. I know your favorite color is teal. Your childhood dog was named Biscuit, and you broke your arm in 3rd grade falling off the monkey bars while trying to impress Tommy Henderson. I can't believe I told you that story. It was adorable. Also explained why you're so competitive." He offered his arm. "Ready, Mrs. Rhodes?" "It's Ms. Bennett in front of my parents," she corrected, but took his arm anyway. "They think we're engaged, not married." "Right. Engaged to be married in the future. At a wedding, that will definitely happen." He paused. "We should probably figure out those details too. One disaster at a time." They climbed the steps, and before Sophia could reach for the doorbell, the door swung open. Her mother stood there in an immaculate cream pantsuit, blonde hair perfectly coiffed, looking like she'd stepped out of a town and country magazine. Her sharp blue eyes, the same shade as Sophia's, immediately zeroed in on Declan. "Sophia. And this must be Marcus." Patricia Bennett's smile was warm, but assessing the kind that could evaluate your net worth, education level, and family lineage in approximately 3 seconds. Come in, come in. We're so excited to meet you." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Bennett," Declan said, his Texas accent somehow more charming than usual. "Sophia's told me so much about you. All good things, I hope." Patricia laughed, already leading them through the marble foyer into the formal living room. "Richard, they're here!" Sophia's father emerged from his study, a tall man with silver hair and the kind of bearing that came from 40 years of corporate law. He extended his hand to Declan. "Marcus Rhodes. I've heard very little about you, which is interesting given you've apparently been dating my daughter for 6 months." "Dad?" Sophia started. "It's a fair question," Declan said smoothly, shaking Richard's hand firmly. "Sophia and I wanted to keep things private while we figured out if this was real. Turns out it is." He looked at Sophia when he said it, and something in his eyes made her forget this was supposed to be fake. "Well," Richard said, releasing Declan's hand, "let's sit down. Dinner won't be ready for another 30 minutes, and I have questions." "Of course you do," Sophia muttered. The next 20 minutes were an interrogation disguised as polite conversation. Richard asked about Declan's education. University of Texas. Computer science. His career tech consultant specializing in cybersecurity. His family parents still in Austin, 1 younger sister, and his intentions, honorable, apparently. Patricia, meanwhile, was more interested in the proposal story. "So tell me," she said, leaning forward with her wine glass, "how did he propose? I need all the details." Sophia froze. They hadn't discussed this at all. "It was actually very simple," Declan said, and Sophia could hear the smile in his voice. "We were at Prospect Park. That's where we had our first real conversation. I'd been carrying the ring around for 2 weeks trying to find the perfect moment." 2 weeks? Patricia clutched her chest. "The anticipation must have been killing you." "It was. But then we were walking and the sun was setting and Sophia was talking about something I honestly can't even remember what. And I just thought, this is it. This is my person. He looked at Sophia, and his expression was so genuine she almost believed it herself. So I got down on one knee right there on the path and asked her to marry me. Patricia was actually tearing up. That's beautiful. And what did you say, Sophia? I said yes. Sophia managed, her throat tight. Obviously. Do you have the ring? Patricia asked eagerly. I'm dying to see it. The simple gold band currently on Sophia's finger, that was definitely not an engagement ring. Actually, Declan said smoothly, we're getting it resized. Sophia has tiny fingers, and I misjudged the size. Should be ready next week. Oh, how frustrating. But how thoughtful of you to get it sized properly. So many men just guess and get it wrong. Richard, however, was less easily charmed. What are your long-term plans, Marcus? Career-wise? I'm actually considering relocating to New York permanently, Declan said. My work is mostly remote, and Sophia's life is here. It makes sense. And financially? Can you support my daughter? Dad, Sophia protested. It's okay, Declan said calmly. Mr. Bennett, I understand your concern. I make a comfortable living. Sophia and I have discussed finances, and we're on the same page about building our life together. But to be clear, he looked directly at Richard. I'm not marrying your daughter for her money. I'm marrying her because she's the smartest, funniest, most determinedly independent person I've ever met. The fact that she comes from a successful family is lovely, but it's not why I'm here. Silence. Then Richard actually smiled. Good answer. Patricia dabbed at her eyes with a napkin. Oh, I like him, Richard. I like him. A bell chimed from the direction of the kitchen. That's dinner, Patricia announced, standing. I hope you like lamb, Marcus. It's Sophia's favorite. My favorite, Sophia corrected. Is actually lamb, Declan finished. She's told me a dozen times. He was right. It was her favorite. She'd mentioned it during their coffee shop crash course. He'd been paying attention. Dinner was surprisingly pleasant. The dining room was exactly as Sophia remembered, crystal chandelier, antique table that seated 12, fresh flowers from the garden. Her mother had gone all out, 5 courses, and enough wine to stock a small vineyard. Declan handled it all like he'd been born to it. He asked Patricia about her charity work, discussed legal precedents with Richard, and somehow managed to make Sophia's uptight parents laugh multiple times. So, Marcus, Patricia said during the 3rd course, Sophia mentioned your family is in Texas. Austin? Yes. My parents run a small business there, tech repair shop. How lovely. Are they excited about the engagement? Sophia watched Declan's expression carefully. This was the first question he couldn't have prepared for. They don't know yet, he said after a beat. I wanted to propose first, tell Sophia's family, then fly home and tell mine in person. Felt like the right order. That's very traditional, Richard said approvingly. When are you planning to visit them? Hopefully next week. I'd love for Sophia to meet them. Next week? Sophia squeaked. That's perfect timing, Patricia interrupted. Your birthday is next week too. Oh, we should have a party. A small engagement celebration. Mom, that's really not necessary. Nonsense. We're celebrating. I'll call the club tomorrow. We can do something intimate, just family and close friends. Maybe 50 people. 50 people is not intimate. It is compared to the wedding. Patricia was already planning in her head. Speaking of which, have you two thought about dates, venues? I know a wonderful wedding planner. We're thinking small, Declan interjected. Actually, we're considering City Hall. Something simple and just about us. Patricia looked personally offended. City Hall? Sophia, you've been planning your wedding since you were 7. I was 7. My taste has evolved. But darling, a Bennett wedding at City Hall? What would people say? That we're practical? Sophia suggested. They'd say we're cheap. Patricia turned to Richard. Tell her this is absurd. Richard wisely stayed out of it. It's their wedding, Patricia. But Mom, Sophia said firmly, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but Declan and I want something intimate. Just us. No big production. Patricia looked genuinely hurt, and Sophia felt a pang of guilt. Her mother had probably been planning Sophia's wedding in her head for 30 years. However, Sophia added, softening, maybe we could do a small reception afterward. Just family, something you could help plan. Patricia's face lit up. Really? We could do it here in the garden. It would be perfect. See? Declan said, his hand finding Sophia's under the table and squeezing. Everyone wins. His hand was warm, solid, comforting in a way that made her forget this was all pretend. She squeezed back. 2 hours later, they finally escaped. That, Sophia said as soon as they were safely in the Uber, was intense. Your parents are nice. My parents are invasive. They care about you. There's a difference. Declan leaned back against the seat, looking surprisingly relaxed for someone who just survived an interrogation disguised as dinner. Though your mom's engagement party idea is going to be complicated, everything about this is complicated. Sophia pulled off her heels, groaning in relief. We need a game plan. The party is one thing, but she mentioned meeting your parents. We can't actually fly to Austin. Why not? Because they're not expecting us, and we're not actually engaged. But we are actually married, Declan pointed out, which, if you think about it, is more committed than engaged. That's not how this works. How does it work then? Sophia opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no idea. This whole situation had spiraled so far beyond her control that she was basically free-falling through chaos. I need a drink, she muttered. Your parents served 4 different wines at dinner. I need a drink I can hold while panicking. Declan laughed. A real, genuine laugh that made something warm bloom in Sophia's chest. You did great tonight. Your parents love me. They love Marcus Rhodes' fake fiancé, not Declan Rhodes' accidental husband. There's a difference. Yes. One is carefully curated lies. The other is, she gestured helplessly. Whatever mess this is. The Uber pulled up to Sophia's building. She grabbed her shoes and purse, ready to escape into her apartment and stress-eat ice cream for the rest of the night. Sophia, Declan said before she could leave. For what it's worth, that stuff I said at dinner about you being the smartest, funniest, most independent person, that wasn't entirely a lie. She froze with her hand on the door handle. What? I've known you for less than 24 hours, and you've already lied to lawyers, your best friend, and your parents. You've negotiated terms like a CEO, adapted to every curveball, and somehow convinced your parents that I'm a real person they should welcome into the family. That takes serious skill or serious desperation, or both. He smiled. Point is, you're handling this way better than you think you are. Sophia didn't know what to say to that. So she did what she always did when emotions got complicated. Deflected. You were pretty impressive too. The proposal story. The financial security speech. You almost made me believe were real. Maybe that's the secret. Declan said quietly. Make it real enough that we believe it ourselves. Their eyes met in the dim light of the Uber. And for a moment, just a moment, Sophia forgot this was supposed to be fake. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down. Text from Harper. How'd it go? Are you still alive? Did they buy it? Reality crashed back. I should go, Sophia said, breaking eye contact. Long day. Yeah, long day. But Declan was still looking at her in that way that made her nervous system do complicated things. Same time tomorrow? We should probably coordinate stories for the engagement party. Tomorrow? Right. Yes. Sophia fumbled with the door handle. Thank you for tonight. For all of it. Thank my improv training. You have improv training? No, but it sounds better than I'm naturally good at lying. He grinned. Good night, wife. Good night, husband. She climbed out of the car and watched it drive away, Declan's silhouette visible in the back window until it turned the corner. Her phone buzzed again. Harper, Sophia, answer me. She typed back. They loved him. I'm in so much trouble, Harper. Trouble with your parents or trouble with your feelings? Sophia stared at the message. Both. Definitely both. But she just replied. See you tomorrow. Need ice cream and a crisis intervention. Harper. I'll bring wine. Sophia trudged upstairs to her apartment, kicked off her shoes properly this time, and collapsed on the couch, the same couch where Declan had slept last night. She looked at the ring on her finger, the simple gold band that was supposed to be temporary, a means to an end. So why did taking it off feel impossible? Her phone buzzed one more time. Unknown number, but she knew who it was now. You did great tonight. Sleep well. D4. Sophia smiled despite herself. This was supposed to be business, a week-long arrangement, nothing more. So why did her apartment suddenly feel too empty without him in it? She was in so much trouble. Sunday morning, 9:23 a.m. Sophia woke up to her phone ringing. "Harper, I'm sleeping." "It's not Harper," a male voice said. "Declan, we have a problem." Sophia sat up immediately. "What kind of problem?" "The kind where your engagement is front-page news on the New York Social Gazette website." "What?" "There's a photo of us leaving your parents' house last night. The headline is, 'Bennett heiress engaged grandfather's will clause fulfilled.'" Sophia's blood ran cold. "How did they?" "Your mother, probably. Or someone at dinner. Doesn't matter. Point is, the press knows, which means everyone knows, which means we can't quietly back out of this anymore." Sophia grabbed her laptop and pulled up the website. Sure enough, there they were, her and Declan walking to the Uber, his hand on her lower back, both of them smiling. They looked like an actual couple. "There's more," Declan said. "The article mentions your birthday deadline, which means people are going to be watching to see if we actually go through with it. This is a nightmare. Or an opportunity." "How is this possibly an opportunity?" "Because now everyone expects us to get married. Which means when we do, no one will question it. We just need to actually plan a wedding. A real wedding. A real fake wedding that counts as a real wedding for legal purposes. But everyone thinks is real, even though we know it's technically fake, except we're already really married." He paused. "You know what? That sentence got away from me." Despite everything, Sophia laughed. "We're so far past normal at this point. Past normal and into legendary. This is going to make an incredible story someday. If we survive it." "When we survive it," Declan corrected. "Look, we've got this far. What's one more week of chaos?" Sophia looked at the photo on her screen again, at the way Declan was looking at her, at the way she was looking at him, like they were real. "One more week," she agreed. "Then we're done." "Then we're done," he echoed. But neither of them sounded convinced. Monday morning, 7:15 a.m., Sophia's apartment. Sophia had been awake since 5 a.m., her laptop open to 17 different tabs about wedding planning, city hall requirements, and whether it was actually illegal to marry someone twice. Her phone had been buzzing non-stop since yesterday. Congratulations texts from distant relatives she hadn't spoken to in years, Facebook friend requests from high school acquaintances, 3 voicemails from reporters asking for interviews, and one very persistent text thread from her mother. "Mom, the florist can meet Tuesday at 2. Mom, I found the perfect dress for you at Kleinfeld. Mom, should we do a string quartet or a jazz trio? Mom, Sophia, are you ignoring me? Mom, Sophia, Marie, Bennett." Sophia dropped her phone on the coffee table and pressed her palms against her eyes. This was spiraling fast. Her doorbell rang. She opened it to find Declan standing there with 2 large coffee cups and a box from her favorite bagel place. "You look terrible," he said cheerfully. "Good morning to you too. I mean it as an observation, not an insult." He walked in like he owned the place, setting the coffee and bagels on her counter. "When's the last time you slept? What year is it? That bad, huh?" He opened the bagel box. "Everything with cream cheese, lightly toasted exactly how you like it." Sophia blinked. "How did you know my bagel order?" "You mentioned it during our coffee shop crash course. Also, you have 12 receipts from Murray's Bagels on your counter, all with the same order." He handed her a coffee. "Vanilla oat milk latte, right?" She took the coffee, feeling something warm and dangerous bloom in her chest. "You're weirdly observant. Part of my charm." He bit into his own bagel. "So, I've been thinking about our situation." "Which situation?" "The fake engagement, the real marriage, the newspaper article, or my mother planning a wedding that's supposed to happen in 6 days." "All of the above." He pulled out his phone. "I made a list." "You made a list." "I'm organized when I need to be." He showed her his screen. Problem 1. We're legally married, but no one knows. Problem 2. Everyone thinks we're engaged and getting married soon. Problem 3. Your birthday is in 6 days, and you need to be officially married by then to claim your inheritance. "I'm aware of all these problems," Sophia said. "I've been losing sleep over them." Solution. We don't get married again. Sophia stared at him. "What?" We're already married. We just need to reveal that fact strategically." He started pacing, getting animated. "Think about it. We can't have two weddings, that's insane and probably illegal. But we can have one very public wedding ceremony that's technically just a vow renewal." "A vow renewal? We've been married for 2 days. No one else knows that. To everyone else, we're getting married for the first time, but legally we're just renewing vows. It counts for your inheritance, satisfies your mother's need for a ceremony, and we don't commit additional fraud." Sophia sat down heavily on her couch. "That's actually brilliant. I have my moments." He sat next to her. "There's one complication, though." "Just one?" "My sister is coming to town." Sophia's stomach dropped. "Your sister? Your real sister? Who knows you're not engaged to anyone named Sophia Bennett?" "Correct." "When does she arrive?" "Tomorrow. Tomorrow." She saw the article online, called me immediately very excited, already booked a flight. He had the decency to look sheepish. I may have forgotten to mention her. Forgotten? Forgotten? Sophia was on her feet now, pacing. "Declan, we've been building this elaborate lie, and now your sister, who presumably knows the truth, is going to show up and blow everything. Not if we tell her the truth first." "The truth? Which truth? The, 'I accidentally married your brother' truth, or the, 'we're running an elaborate con to secure my inheritance' truth?" "Both. Both." Sophia repeated flatly. "Madison's cool. She'll understand. Your sister's name is Madison. Madison Hayes Rhodes, 26, graphic designer. Currently between jobs, which is why she can drop everything and fly to New York on 2 days' notice." He pulled up a photo on his phone. "That's her." Sophia looked at the picture. Madison was pretty long, dark hair, bright smile, wearing a nevertheless, she persisted t-shirt. "She looks nice. She's the best. Also incredibly nosy and will see through any lie we try to tell her." Declan pocketed his phone. "Which is why I'm proposing radical honesty. You want to tell your sister we accidentally got married and are now faking an engagement? When you say it like that, it sounds bad." "Because it is bad." Declan caught her hand, stopping her pacing. "Sophia, look at me." She did. Those steel-gray eyes were steady, calm, completely at odds with the chaos swirling around them. "We've handled everything else that's been thrown at us," he said. "Your best friend, your parents, the press. We can handle my sister. Your sister who will know this is all fake. My sister who will help us make it look real." He squeezed her hand. "Trust me, that was the problem." Against all logic and reason, Sophia was starting to trust him. "Fine," she said. "But if this blows up in our faces—" "It won't. You can't possibly know that." "I can't," he admitted. "But I'm choosing to believe it anyway. You should try it sometime." "What?" "Blind optimism. Controlled chaos. It's more fun than planning everything to death." Before Sophia could respond, her phone rang. Her mother again. "Don't answer it," Declan said. "I have to answer it. If I don't, she'll show up here. Then let her show up. We'll tell her we're busy doing engaged couple things." "Like what?" Declan's eyes sparkled with mischief. "I have some ideas." "Absolutely not. I was going to suggest wedding planning. But sure, let your mind go wherever it wants." He grinned. "But seriously, we should probably coordinate with your mom unless you want her planning a wedding for 300 people. Sophia groaned and answered the phone. "Hi, Mom." "Finally. Sophia, I've been trying to reach you all morning. We have so much to do. The engagement party is Saturday." "This Saturday? Mom, that's 5 days away." "Exactly, which is why we need to move quickly. I've already called the club. They have availability. We can do cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, maybe a small band." "Mom, about the party, and then there's the actual wedding. Have you two set a date yet?" Sophia looked at Declan, who was making encouraging gestures. "Actually, yes. We want to do it soon. Really soon." "How soon?" "This Sunday." Silence. Then, "This Sunday? As in 6 days from now? We don't want a big production, just immediate family, very intimate. Maybe at City Hall, then a small gathering at your place. You mentioned wanting to host something in the garden." "City Hall," Patricia said faintly. "On a Sunday. We can do the engagement party Saturday, then the wedding Sunday. 2 birds, 1 stone. Very efficient." More silence. "Mom?" I'm processing. My only daughter wants to get married at City Hall with less than a week's planning. It's what we want, Mom. Small and meaningful. She heard her mother take a deep breath. Fine, fine. If that's what you want, we'll make it work. But Sophia. Yes? You're wearing a proper dress. I don't care if it's City Hall. You're not wearing jeans. I promise. No jeans. And I'm planning the garden reception. No arguments. Deal. After a few more minutes of logistics, Sophia hung up. That went well, Declan said. She's going to drive me crazy this week. At least you'll be too busy to overthink everything. He wasn't wrong. Tuesday afternoon, 2:47 p.m. Kleinfeld Bridal. How Sophia ended up in a bridal shop trying on wedding dresses for a fake wedding she was already technically married in was a question for philosophers and possibly therapists. Patricia had insisted. Harper had sided with Patricia. And somehow Sophia had been outvoted and dragged to the most famous bridal salon in New York. This is ridiculous, Sophia muttered, staring at herself in a massive ball gown that made her look like a cream puff. We're getting married at City Hall. I don't need a $4,000 dress. It's $4,000 actually, the consultant said cheerfully. And you look stunning. She looks like she's being eaten by a marshmallow, Harper said from her perch on the plush couch. She'd brought wine to a bridal appointment at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Patricia shot Harper a look. She looks beautiful though, perhaps something a bit less voluminous. I'll grab some other options. The consultant disappeared into the back. Sophia struggled out of the dress with Harper's help, then collapsed next to her friend in her underwear and a strapless bra. This is my life now, she said to the ceiling. Trying on wedding dresses for a wedding that's technically a vow renewal for a marriage no one knows about. Could be worse, Harper said, sipping her contraband wine. You could be doing it alone. At least your fake husband is hot. He's not my... Sophia stopped. Okay, technically he is my husband, but it's not real. Uh-huh. And that's why you've checked your phone 12 times in the last hour to see if he's texted. I'm just nervous about meeting his sister tomorrow. His sister who we're telling the truth to, apparently. Sophia grabbed Harper's wine glass and took a sip. This is insane, right? All of this? Completely. Harper took her glass back. But also kind of romantic. Romantic? It's fraud. It's a romantic comedy come to life. You literally married the wrong guy and are now falling for him. I'm not falling for him. Harper just looked at her. I'm not. It's been 3 days, Harper. You can fall for someone in 3 minutes. 3 days is practically a relationship. Before Sophia could argue, the consultant returned with an armful of dresses. I think you'll love these. Much more understated. Classic. Elegant. The next dress was perfect. Simple ivory silk. Fitted bodice, flowing skirt, delicate lace sleeves. It was exactly what Sophia would have chosen if this were a real wedding. She stood on the platform, staring at her reflection, and for a moment forgot this was all pretend. Oh, honey, Patricia said, her voice thick with emotion. You look beautiful. It's perfect. Harper agreed, actually tearing up. Soph, this is the one. Sophia turned, watching the dress move with her. It felt right, which was dangerous. We'll take it, Patricia announced, already pulling out her credit card. Mom, you don't have to. I'm buying my daughter's wedding dress. End of discussion. The consultant beamed. Wonderful. We can have alterations done by Saturday if we rush. Sophia's phone buzzed. Text from Declan. Sister's flight lands in 2 hours. I'm picking her up. Dinner tonight. Time for truth bombs. She typed back. Found a dress. It's perfect. Which feels weird. 3 dots appeared. Then, why weird? Because none of this is real. A longer pause this time. Then, maybe we should talk about that. Sophia stared at the message, her heart doing complicated things in her chest. Sophia. Patricia's voice cut through her thoughts. Did you hear me? I asked about shoes. Right. Shoes. She shoved her phone in her bag. Whatever you think is best, Mom. But her mind was elsewhere, replaying Declan's message over and over. Maybe we should talk about that. Talk about what? The fact that the lines between fake and real were getting dangerously blurry, that she'd started looking forward to his texts, that the thought of this ending in a week was starting to feel less like freedom and more like loss? She looked at herself in the wedding dress one more time. This was supposed to be simple, a business arrangement, a means to an end. So why did her reflection look like a real bride? Tuesday evening, 7:34 p.m., Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. Sophia arrived at the restaurant to find Declan already there, sitting with a woman who had to be Madison, same dark hair, same bright energy, but where Declan was all sharp edges and controlled intensity, Madison was warm and open. She spotted Sophia immediately and waved enthusiastically. "You must be Sophia. Oh my gosh, you're even prettier than your photos." Madison pulled her into a hug before Sophia could even say hello. "I'm Madison, but everyone calls me Maddie. I can't believe my brother got engaged and didn't tell me." "Surprise," Sophia offered weakly. Declan gave her a look that clearly said, "We need to tell her." They ordered drinks, wine for the girls, whiskey for Declan, and made small talk while they waited for food. Madison was a graphic designer who had just quit her job at a startup that valued hustle culture over human dignity. She was staying with Declan at his hotel for the week. "So," Maddie said once their entree arrived, "I have to know, how did you two actually meet?" Because Dex has been weirdly vague about it. Sophia looked at Declan. Declan looked at Sophia. "It's a funny story," Sophia started. "Hilarious," Declan agreed. "We met at a bar," they said together. Madison's eyes narrowed. "Why do I feel like there's more to this story?" "Because there is," Declan said. "Maddie, I need to tell you something, and you need to promise not to freak out. When has that ever worked?" "Fair point." He took a breath. "Sophia and I aren't engaged." Madison blinked. "What?" "We're married." "What?" Several other diners turned to look. Sophia smiled apologetically, while Declan tried to calm his sister down. "Maddie, let me explain. You're married? Since when?" "Why didn't you tell me?" "Since Friday night, and I didn't tell you because it was an accident." Madison stared at him, then at Sophia, then back at him. "I'm sorry, did you just say you accidentally got married?" "Yes." "How do you accidentally get married?" "It's a long story," Sophia said. "I've got time." Madison crossed her arms. "Start talking." So they did. They explained the whole thing. The will, the inheritance, the mistaken identity, the midnight deadline, the signed contract. Madison listened with an expression that cycled between shock, disbelief, and increasing amusement. When they finished, she sat back in her chair and laughed. "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." "I know," Sophia said miserably. "No, I mean it's amazing. This is like a movie." Madison leaned forward. "So, you're legally married but pretending to be engaged and planning a fake wedding that's actually a vow renewal? That's basically it." "Yes. And you need me to keep this secret and help you pull it off?" "If you're willing," Declan said carefully. Madison looked between them, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Oh, I'm willing. But I have questions." "Such as?" "Such as, are you two actually into each other, or is this purely business?" Silence. "It's complicated," Sophia finally said. "That's not a no," Madison pointed out. "It's business," Declan said firmly. "We have an arrangement. Clear boundaries." "Uh-huh." Madison's smile grew wider. "And these clear boundaries include you memorizing her coffee order and her learning your family history and you two looking at each other like that?" "Like what?" they asked simultaneously. "Like you're already in love and just haven't figured it out yet." "That's ridiculous," Sophia said. "Completely," Declan agreed. But neither of them looked at each other. Madison laughed again. "Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, I'm in. But on one condition." "What condition?" Sophia asked nervously. "When you two finally admit you actually have feelings for each other, I get to say, 'I told you so.'" "That's not going to happen," Declan said. "We'll see." Madison raised her wine glass. "To fake marriages, real feelings, and the most chaotic week of our lives." Sophia clinked her glass against Madison's, trying to ignore the truth in her words. Fake marriage. Real feelings. When exactly had those lines started to blur? Later that night, 11:47 p.m., outside Sophia's apartment. Declan had insisted on walking Sophia home. "It's late," he'd said, "and Brooklyn is Brooklyn." They stood outside her building, the streetlights casting long shadows, the city humming around them. "Your sister is great," Sophia said. "She's a menace." A great menace. Sophia smiled. Thanks for telling her the truth. It actually feels good to have someone else know. Besides Harper. She looked up at him. Madison said something tonight about lines blurring. I noticed. Are they blurring? Declan was quiet for a long moment. I think they started blurring the moment I signed that contract. That's probably not good for the arrangement. Probably not. He stepped closer. But I'm starting to think the arrangement was flawed from the beginning. How so? It assumed we could spend a week pretending to be in love without any actual feelings developing. Sophia's breath caught. And you think feelings are developing? I think. He reached up, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. That it's getting harder to remember what's pretend and what's real. They were so close now, close enough that Sophia could see the flecks of blue in his gray eyes. Close enough to kiss. This is a bad idea, she whispered. Terrible, he agreed. But neither of them moved away. We have rules, Sophia tried. Rules are meant to be broken, not business rules. Is that what this still is? Business? Sophia couldn't answer, because the truth was, it had stopped being just business somewhere between the family dinner and the wedding dress shopping, and this moment right now. Declan's phone buzzed, breaking the spell. He checked it. Maddie wondering where I am. You should go. I should. But he didn't move. Sophia, don't, she said softly. Whatever you're about to say, don't. Not yet. Let's get through this week. Then we can figure out what this is. He nodded slowly. 1 week. 1 week. He kissed her forehead, quick, gentle, leaving her wanting more, then stepped back. Good night, wife. Good night, husband. Sophia watched him walk away, then went upstairs to her apartment. She stood at her window, watching the street below, replaying the almost kiss in her mind. Her phone buzzed. Text from Declan. For the record, that took all my willpower. She smiled and typed back. Mine too. 3 dots. Then, 1 week feels like a long time. It does. Maybe we should make it count. Sophia stared at the message, her heart racing. Maybe we should, she replied. She went to bed that night with a smile on her face and a dangerous hope blooming in her chest. 4 more days until the wedding. 4 more days until this arrangement ended. 4 more days to figure out if what they were feeling was real or just really good acting. Sophia had a feeling she already knew the answer. Saturday evening, 6:15 p.m., the Bennett Country Club. Sophia adjusted her cocktail dress for the 100th time, staring at her reflection in the club's ornate bathroom mirror. The emerald green silk hugged her curves perfectly, but she felt like she was wearing armor going into battle. You look amazing, Madison said, applying lipstick beside her. Stop fidgeting. Easy for you to say. You're not the one about to lie to 50 people. Technically, you're telling the truth. You are married to my brother. Madison grinned. You're just creative with the timeline. Harper emerged from a stall, smoothing down her navy dress. Is it too late to run away to Mexico? Way too late, Madison said. Your mom's already greeting guests. I saw at least 3 society photographers out there. Sophia groaned. Of course, there are photographers. Come on. Harper linked arms with her. Let's get this over with. Declan's probably already charming the entire room. They weren't wrong. When Sophia entered the elegant ballroom, Declan was surrounded by a group of her mother's friends, telling some story that had them all laughing. He looked unfairly handsome in a navy suit, his Texas charm on full display. He caught her eye across the room and smiled that genuine smile that made her forget this was supposed to be fake. There's my fiancé, he said, excusing himself and crossing to her. He took her hand and kissed it, playing to their audience, then quieter. Just for her. You look incredible. You clean up okay yourself, okay? I'm devastated. But his eyes were warm, teasing. Sophia! Marcus! Patricia appeared with a couple in tow. I want you to meet the Hendersons. This is. The next hour was a blur of introductions, congratulations, and increasingly elaborate lies about their relationship. Declan was a natural, embellishing their how we met story with details that made it sound completely real. So there I was, he told a group of Sophia's relatives, staring at this woman debating avocados like it was the most important decision of her life. And I thought, I need to know this person. It was 1 avocado, Sophia protested, laughing despite herself. It was 12 avocados. I counted. The group laughed, and Sophia felt Declan's hand settle on her lower back, warm, steady, familiar. When had that become familiar? You two are adorable, someone cooed. Aren't they? Patricia beamed. I knew the moment I met Marcus that he was perfect for Sophia. Sophia caught Harper's eye across the room. Harper mouthed. You're so into him. Sophia mouthed back. Shut up. 7:30 p.m. Sophia escaped to the balcony for air, the October breeze cooling her flushed cheeks. The party was going perfectly. Too perfectly, which meant something was about to go wrong. Sophia Bennett. She turned to find a man she hadn't seen in 3 years. Tall, blonde, expensive suit. Her ex-boyfriend, Tyler Whitmore. Tyler. Hi. She forced a smile. I didn't know you were invited. Your mother invited my parents. They dragged me along. He moved closer, drink in hand. Heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Thank you. Quick turnaround. Last I heard you were still single. Things change. Clearly. He leaned against the railing beside her. 6 months, your mom said. That's fast. When you know, you know. Is that what this is? True love? His tone was skeptical. Or is this about your grandfather's will? Sophia's stomach dropped. Excuse me? Come on, Soph. The clause about being married by 30, everyone knows about it. And suddenly you're engaged to some guy no one's ever met right before your birthday. He shrugged. Just seems convenient. My relationship isn't any of your business, Tyler. I'm just saying if you needed someone to marry for your inheritance, you could have called me. We had history. We had 3 months of dating that ended badly. Because you were too focused on your career. Guess money's a better motivator than love. Before Sophia could respond, Declan appeared in the doorway. There you are. He crossed to her, sliding an arm around her waist. Your mom's looking for you. Something about toasts. He glanced at Tyler. Hi. Declan Rhodes. Tyler Whitmore. They shook hands, sizing each other up. Old friend of Sophia's? Declan asked. Boyfriend. Sophia corrected quietly. Ex-boyfriend. Something flickered in Declan's eyes. Is that right? 3 years ago, Tyler said, before she decided work was more important than relationships. Funny, Declan said, his voice pleasant but his grip on Sophia tightening slightly. She seems to have figured out how to balance both now. Has she? Tyler smirked. Or is this just another item on her to-do list? Get married by 30. Check. Tyler. Sophia started. I'm just being honest. You're great at planning, Soph. Always have been. But this, he gestured between her and Declan, this feels like your most elaborate plan yet. Declan went very still beside her. I think you should leave. I'm just trying to look out for an old friend. By insulting her at her own engagement party? By pointing out the obvious. Tyler drained his drink. But hey, if you're happy playing the convenient husband, that's your choice. He walked away, leaving Sophia and Declan alone on the balcony. Silence. Is that what people think? Declan asked, finally. That this is fake? Tyler's just bitter. Don't listen to him. He has a point, though. This is about the will. That's literally why we're here. Declan, is that all this is to you? An item on your to-do list? Sophia turned to face him. Is that what you think? I don't know what to think anymore. He ran a hand through his hair. We're standing here pretending to be engaged, but we're actually married. You're wearing a ring. I'm meeting your family, and I can't tell what's real and what's performance. I could say the same thing. Then maybe we should stop pretending. Stop pretending we're engaged. Stop pretending we don't feel something real. Sophia's heart hammered in her chest. Declan, we have an arrangement. Forget the arrangement. He stepped closer. I'm asking what you feel right now, not what's convenient or profitable or part of the plan. What do you actually feel? Before she could answer, Madison burst onto the balcony. Sorry to interrupt, but your mom's about to do toasts, and she's looking for you both. Also, some guy just told Harper that he thinks your engagement is fake, and she nearly threw wine at him, so we should probably... She stopped, looking between them. Did I interrupt something? No, Sophia said quickly. We were just coming in. She walked past Declan, past Madison, back into the party where everything was controlled and planned and safe. But she could feel his eyes on her back and the question hanging in the air between them. What do you actually feel? 8:45 p.m. The toasts were beautiful, Patricia cried. Richard told embarrassing stories about Sophia's childhood. Madison gave a speech about love finding you when you least expect it, making pointed eye contact with both Sophia and Declan. Through it all, Sophia and Declan maintained perfect appearances, holding hands, laughing at the right moments, playing the happy couple, but there was a distance now that hadn't been there before. Okay, what happened? Harper cornered Sophia by the dessert table. You two were perfect earlier, and now you're acting like polite strangers. Tyler showed up. What? That jerk? What did he say? That he thinks our engagement is fake. That I'm just checking off items on my to-do list. Harper's eyes widened. And Declan heard this? He agreed with him. Oh, honey. Harper pulled her into a hug. What did you say? Nothing. I didn't know what to say. Sophia pulled back. Harper, what am I doing? Tyler's right. This is fake. It's an arrangement, a business deal. Is it, though? Because from where I'm standing, it stopped being fake about 3 days ago. It doesn't matter what I feel. The arrangement ends tomorrow after the wedding. Then Declan gets his money and goes back to Texas, and I get my inheritance, and everything goes back to normal. Except you're legally married to him. We can get divorced. Can you, though? Harper gave her a knowing look. Can you really just walk away? Sophia looked across the room to where Declan stood with Madison, his expression unreadable. Could she walk away? A week ago, the answer would have been easy. This was business. Nothing more. But now, I don't know, she whispered. 10:30 p.m. Outside the club. The party was winding down. Guests were leaving, thanking Patricia for a lovely evening. Sophia stood by the valet, waiting for her car, exhausted down to her bones. Sophia. She turned. Declan stood there, hands in his pockets, looking uncertain in a way she'd never seen before. I'm sorry, he said. About earlier. Tyler got in my head. He got in mine too. I shouldn't have pushed. You don't owe me answers about your feelings. Maybe I do. She took a breath. Maybe we both deserve honesty. Tomorrow's the wedding. I know. And then the arrangement ends. I know that too. So, what happens after? Sophia looked at him. This man she'd accidentally married, this stranger who'd become something more in just 6 days. I don't know, she admitted, but I think we need to figure it out. Yeah, he smiled slightly. We probably should. The valet brought her car. Sophia got in, started the engine, then rolled down the window. Declan. Yeah? Tomorrow, when we do the vows, let's mean them. Just to see how it feels. His expression softened. Okay. Just to see how it feels. She drove away, watching him in the rearview mirror until he disappeared from view. One more day. One more day to figure out if this was just business or something more. One more day before everything changed. Sunday morning, 9:47 a.m., Sophia's apartment. Sophia woke up to sunlight streaming through her windows and the terrifying realization that today was her wedding day again. Sort of. Her phone showed 3 missed calls from her mother, 2 texts from Harper, you ready for this? And I'm bringing champagne, and 1 from Declan. See you at City Hall. 2 p.m. Don't be late, wife. Wife haven't together. 200 Zeppendivactidi. She smiled despite her nerves. Today was the day. The fake real wedding that would satisfy her grandfather's will, fool her family, and maybe, just maybe, reveal what was actually happening between her and Declan. Let's mean them, she'd said last night, just to see how it feels. Her own words echoed in her head. Harper arrived at 11 with champagne, bagels, and Madison in tow. Bride preparation squad reporting for duty, Madison announced, setting down bags of makeup and hair supplies. This is insane, Sophia said, accepting a glass of champagne. Why am I more nervous today than I was last Friday? Because last Friday was chaos, Harper said. Today's intentional. Last Friday you married a stranger, Madison added. Today you're marrying someone you actually know and possibly have feelings for. Possibly. Okay, definitely. Madison grinned. My brother texted me at 3 a.m. last night. Want to know what it said? Not really. How do you know if you're in love with someone? Madison did, air quotes. Direct quote. Sophia nearly dropped her champagne. He said that verbatim? I told him if he has to ask, he already knows the answer. Harper squealed. This is happening. This is actually happening. Nothing is happening, Sophia protested weakly. We're just figuring things out by getting married again. Madison raised her glass. To figuring things out in the most complicated way possible. They clinked glasses, and Sophia tried to calm her racing heart. 1:47 p.m. outside Manhattan City Hall. The building was less romantic than Sophia had imagined. Concrete steps, government efficiency, couples waiting for their turn. But there was something honest about it. Real. Patricia had tried to convince them to do a church ceremony. Richard had suggested the club. But Sophia and Declan had insisted. City Hall, simple, just them. Of course, just them now included both sets of parents, Harper, Madison, and a photographer Patricia had hired despite Sophia's protests. Sophia stood on the steps in her ivory silk dress, the one her mother had bought at Kleinfeld. She'd kept her hair simple, loose waves, minimal makeup, the gold band already on her finger. She looked like a bride. She felt like a bride, which was terrifying. "You ready?" Harper asked, adjusting Sophia's dress. "No. Yes. Maybe." Sophia took a shaky breath. "Harper, what if this is a mistake? Getting married or catching feelings?" "Both." Harper took her hands. "Soph, I've known you since college. I've seen you plan everything down to the minute, color-coded calendars, backup plans for your backup plans. You've never done anything spontaneous in your life. I accidentally married a stranger." "Exactly." Harper grinned. "And look how well it's working out. Maybe it's time to stop planning and just feel." "I don't know how to just feel." "Then today's a good day to learn." A car pulled up. Declan stepped out, and Sophia's breath caught. He wore a charcoal gray suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. His hair was perfectly styled, but she could tell he'd run his hands through it at least once, nervous habit she'd learned to recognize. When he saw her, he stopped walking. Just stopped. "Wow," he said when he finally reached her. "You look like a bride?" "Like my wife," he said quietly, "just for her." Something melted in Sophia's chest. "You clean up pretty well yourself, husband." Patricia rushed over with her photographer. "Oh, you too. Let's get some pictures before we go in." The next 15 minutes were a blur of posed photos. Sophia and Declan on the steps with their families, laughing at something Madison said. The photographer kept saying they were naturals, that their chemistry was obvious. If only she knew. Finally, it was time. They gathered in the small ceremony room, plain walls, American flag, a clerk who'd probably done this 1,000 times. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate, just honest. The clerk, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, smiled at them. "Ready?" Sophia looked at Declan. Declan looked at Sophia. "Ready," they said together. 2 p.m. The ceremony. We're gathered here today to witness the union of Sophia Bennett and Declan Rhodes. The clerk's words washed over Sophia as she held Declan's hands. His palms were slightly sweaty. He was nervous too. Somehow that made her feel better. "Marriage is a commitment," the clerk continued. "A choice you make, not just today but every day. To love, to support, to be honest with each other even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." Sophia thought, "Especially when it's hard." "Declan, do you take Sophia to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do." His voice was steady, his eyes locked on hers. "Sophia, do you take Declan to be your lawfully wedded husband?" This was it. The moment of truth. She could say no, could stop this whole charade right now, tell everyone the truth. Or she could say yes, could take the leap, could choose chaos over planning, could choose him. "I do," she whispered. "The rings?" Madison stepped forward with the rings, simple gold bands that matched the one Sophia already wore. They'd bought Declan's yesterday. Another detail in their elaborate plan. "Declan, repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed." Declan slid the ring onto Sophia's finger, over the one already there. "With this ring, I thee wed." His voice cracked slightly on the last word. "Sophia, repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed." Sophia's hands trembled as she slid the ring onto Declan's finger. "With this ring, I thee wed. By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife." The clerk smiled. "You may kiss your bride." This was the part they hadn't practiced. Declan's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. Just to see how it feels, he murmured, echoing her words from last night. Just to see how it feels, she confirmed. He kissed her, and it felt like everything. Soft at first, tentative, testing, then deeper as she melted into him, her hands finding his lapels, pulling him closer. The room disappeared. The families, the photographer, the clerk. There was only this. Only him. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Sophia heard applause. She'd forgotten they had an audience. "Ladies and gentlemen," the clerk announced, "Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes." Everyone cheered. Patricia was crying. Richard was smiling. Madison was filming everything on her phone, grinning like she'd won the lottery. And Sophia. Sophia was married. Really married. To a man she'd known for 7 days. A man she was pretty sure she was falling in love with. 3:30 p.m., garden reception at the Bennett house. Patricia had outdone herself. The garden was transformed. String lights, flowers everywhere. A small band playing jazz. Tables set with fine china. It was intimate but elegant. Perfect. Sophia and Declan made the rounds, accepting congratulations, thanking guests, playing the happy newlyweds. Except it didn't feel like playing anymore. "Your mom really pulled this together fast," Declan said during a quiet moment. "She's been planning my wedding in her head for 30 years. She just needed 24 hours to execute. It's nice. Really nice." He squeezed her hand. "You okay? I just married you again publicly this time, with our families watching." She looked up at him. "Am I okay?" "I have no idea. Want to get out of here for a minute? Can we do that? It's our wedding. It's our second wedding. I think we've earned a break." They snuck away to the far corner of the garden where Patricia's rose bushes created a natural alcove. Private. Quiet. "So," Declan said, leaning against a tree, "we did it. You're officially 30 and married. Inheritance secured. Mission accomplished. Which means our arrangement is complete." "Technically, yes." Silence settled between them, not uncomfortable, but weighted with everything unsaid. "Declan. Sophia." They both stopped, laughed nervously. "You first," Sophia said. Declan took a breath. "I've been thinking about what you said last night about meaning the vows and what Tyler said about this being fake." "Declan. Tyler's an idiot. He's right, though. This started as fake. A business arrangement. You needed a husband. I needed money. And we stumbled into each other." Sophia's heart sank. "Right. Business. But here's the thing." He stepped closer. "Somewhere between the bar and your parents' house and the engagement party, and today, it stopped being business for me." She looked up sharply. "What?" "I don't know exactly when it happened. Maybe when you trusted me enough to tell my sister the truth. Maybe during that dinner when you defended our fictional relationship to your parents. Maybe this morning when I saw you on those steps looking like the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen." He took her hands. "But somewhere along the way, I stopped pretending. Declan, I know this is crazy. I know we've only known each other a week. I know this whole thing started as an accident." He smiled ruefully. "But you know what? I'm glad I sat at that bar. I'm glad you picked the wrong guy, because if you'd found the real Marcus Thompson, I never would have met you." Sophia's eyes were burning. "You're not supposed to say things like that." "Why not?" "Because we have an arrangement. Clear boundaries. This ends today and you get your money and go back to Texas." "What if I don't want to go back to Texas?" "You have a life there. I have a job that's remote, and a sister who's thrilled I found someone. That's it." He cupped her face. "Sophia, what if I want to stay? What if I want this to be real?" "That's insane," said the woman who accidentally married a stranger and was now actually married to that stranger and maybe possibly had feelings for that stranger. A laugh bubbled up through Sophia's tears. "When you say it like that, it sounds crazy. I know. But maybe crazy is good. Maybe chaos is better than planning everything to death." He wiped a tear from her cheek. "What do you feel, Sophia, right now? No arrangement, no inheritance, no business deal. Just you and me. What do you feel?" Sophia looked at him, really looked at him. At the man who'd agreed to this insanity, who'd charmed her parents, who'd supported her through every complication, who'd kissed her like she was the only thing that mattered. "I feel terrified," she admitted. "Because I've known you 7 days, and I'm not supposed to feel this way about someone I just met. But you do. But I do. She laughed again, fresh tears falling. I feel like I found something I didn't know I was looking for. Like all my careful planning led me to the most unplanned moment of my life. And it's terrifying and chaotic and completely illogical, and I don't want it to end. Declan's smile was brilliant. Yeah? Yeah. She pulled him down for a kiss different from the one at City Hall. This one was certain. Real. I don't know how this works, she said against his lips. I don't know how we explain to people that we're actually really married and not just fake married. We'll figure it out. I don't have a plan. Good. Plans are overrated, said the man who once made a list of their problems. I contain multitudes. He kissed her again. So what now, Mrs. Rhodes? Now we go back to our reception. We dance. We eat cake. We celebrate. She smiled. And tomorrow we figure out how to actually be married. I like that plan. It's not much of a plan. It's perfect. They walked back to the party hand in hand, and Sophia felt something she hadn't felt in years. Completely, totally, irrationally happy. 6:47 p.m., first dance. The band played something slow and romantic. Declan pulled Sophia onto the makeshift dance floor in the garden, surrounded by friends and family. I'm not a great dancer, he warned. Neither am I. Then we're perfect for each other. They swayed together, and Sophia rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Hey, he said softly. Yeah? Happy birthday. She'd almost forgotten. Today was her 30th birthday. Thanks. Best birthday present ever. What? The inheritance? No, you idiot. You. He pulled back to look at her, and his smile made her heart flip. So smooth, Mrs. Rhodes. I'm working on it. Madison swooped in with Harper, both holding champagne. Toast time. The band stopped playing. Everyone gathered around as Madison raised her glass. To my brother and my new sister-in-law, she began, grinning. You two have the most ridiculous love story I've ever heard, and I've watched a lot of rom-coms. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But watching you this week, I realized something. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones you don't plan. The ones that catch you completely off guard. The ones that start as chaos and turn into something real. She looked at them both. I told you I'd get to say I told you so. So here it is. I told you so. You two are perfect for each other. Everyone raised their glasses. To Sophia and Declan, to chaos and love, to accidentally marrying the right person. That last one was Harper, who was definitely tipsy. As the party continued into the evening, Sophia caught moments that felt like snapshots. Her mother hugging Declan, whispering something that made him smile. Her father shaking Declan's hand, that rare look of approval on his face. Harper and Madison dancing badly together, already best friends, and through it all Declan's hand in hers. Steady, real, right. 11:23 p.m. After the guests had gone, Sophia and Declan stood in the garden alone, surrounded by string lights and the remains of the best accidental wedding ever. So, Declan said, we're married. We are. For real this time. For real. No more pretending. No more pretending. She turned to face him. I can't believe this is my life now. Regrets? Not even one. She kissed him. We should probably tell people the whole story eventually. What that we accidentally got married a week before our real wedding. It's going to make a great story for our grandkids. Grandkids, huh? He pulled her closer. Planning that far ahead already? Old habits, she grinned. But I'm learning to be more spontaneous. I've noticed. He kissed her forehead. Come on, let's go home. Home? Your place? My hotel? Wherever. As long as we're together. That was really cheesy. You love it. I really do. They walked out of the garden, out of her parents' house, into the New York night. Tomorrow they'd figure out the details, where they'd live, how to combine their lives, what to tell people about their unconventional beginning. But tonight, they were just Sophia and Declan accidentally married, intentionally in love, and absolutely, perfectly, chaotically happy. Epilogue, 6 months later. And that's how your Uncle Declan accidentally married your Aunt Sophia, Madison finished, closing the photo album. Her nephew Harper and her husband's new baby gurgled happily. Too young for that story, Mads, Harper said, scooping up the baby. Never too young for a good rom-com, Madison grinned. Speaking of which, how are the newlyweds? Still disgustingly happy, Harper reported. Declan moved his whole company here. They bought a loft in Brooklyn. Sophia is teaching him to be less spontaneous. He's teaching her to be less rigid. It's adorable, and I hate it. You love it. I love it so much. Harper smiled. Who would have thought accidentally marrying the wrong person could turn out so right? Sometimes chaos is the plan, Madison said. Across town in their new Brooklyn loft, Sophia sat at her desk working on ad campaigns, while Declan cooked dinner, another compromise they'd reached. She handled the planning. He handled the spontaneity. Dinner's ready, he called. Sophia saved her work and joined him at their small dining table. Simple pasta, good wine, terrible jokes. Perfect. I was thinking, Declan said between bites. Dangerous. We should renew our vows for real, this time on our actual anniversary. Which anniversary? The accidental one or the public one? Both. We'll have 2 anniversaries. Double the gifts. Sophia laughed. You're ridiculous. You love me. I really do. She looked at her wedding ring, the simple gold band she'd worn for 6 months now. You know what the crazy thing is? What? If my grandfather hadn't put that clause in his will, if I hadn't panicked and gone to that bar, if I hadn't picked the wrong guy. She reached across the table for his hand. I never would have found you. So what you're saying is, thank you, Grandpa Theodore. I'm saying sometimes the universe has better plans than we do. That's very zen for someone who color codes her calendar. I'm evolving, she grinned. Besides, you promised chaos and you delivered. And you promised to teach me your organizational systems. Still waiting on that. Baby steps. They finished dinner, did dishes together, and settled on the couch for their nightly routine, her with her laptop, him with his tablet, feet intertwined, comfortable silence. Hey, Declan said eventually. Yeah? I'm glad you picked me. Sophia looked over at him, her accidental husband, her intentional love. Me too. And in that moment, in their chaotic, unplanned, perfectly imperfect life together, Sophia Bennett Rhodes realized something. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never see coming. The end.